Hello and welcome to another video and podcast from Fantasy Football Scouts. Today I'm joined by Neale to discuss the latest lineup and injury news from this week's press conferences ahead of Gameweek 5. Neale, welcome, how are you?
Busy, very busy. I think there's 14 press conferences today. There's only 6 yesterday, so I've been going at it very, very hard this morning and this afternoon, so to speak.
Okay.
So I think I've got everything documented, with the exception possibly of Arsenal, but I'm just trying to read up as we speak on those. But yeah, let's get going.
Okay, right, yeah, lots to get through. Let's start with Manchester United. There's always some news coming from Manchester United. Injuries seem to be an ongoing issue for them, it seems. Who's set to miss out? Or who's a doubt, rather, for their clash with Leicester?
A lot of players. So with a lot of these names are already flagged in FPL. It won't be a huge shock that they're doubts, but perhaps we thought a few more were going to be ready. So the slightly positive news is that Wan-Bissaka and Lingard are maybes. No more than that. So I think they're about 50% in FPL. Solskjaer says no promises there on those two being fit, but they are closer than the names I'm about to tell you. So yeah, aside from those two, Pogba and Martial almost certainly out. I think Martial is. Pogba, Solskjaer said, unless there's a dramatic change in events over the coming 24 hours, he's going to be back for the following game week 6. And they've already got people like Darlow and Shaw and Eric Bailly out. So yeah, a lot of red flags or dark orange flags appearing in FPL and Man United players. But Pogba and Martial are the main ones, I think, from an FPL perspective. And looks like they're very much going to be out.
Yeah, definitely. I was having some chats this week with people about Martial, and I was saying that I like him. It was a great FPL score when he plays, but his injury a couple of weeks ago reminded me of why I haven't had him before. And it's not just the manager not liking him; he just has this injury record. And I looked at his injury record, and yeah, sure, it's not like horrendous, but it's still. I think it was 8 games he missed last season, and I think Martial owners are starting to get that feeling that I had a couple of weeks ago now. They're thinking, oh no, is he going to play? Oh no, it looks like he won't play. Pogba, you say, these days I think it's more of an issue about how the team ticks along with Pogba there, and that could disrupt the flow. James is a hot property at the moment. He's the one in form up front for them, but nothing about him. He seems fit and raring to go.
Yeah, Solskjaer said that most of the international players had come back all right. The ones who had gone on international duty. Of course, a lot of these names had pulled out, I've already mentioned. But yeah, I would fully expect James to play. And given that Martial's out, that probably means he's going to be on the left flank again. Matty James. James is he's been on the right at the start of the season, moved over to the left, and which is where he's had a lot of his success from. So I think he'll be playing there this Saturday against Leicester.
Yeah, it's very tempting. I understand he's going for a record as well, which is Solskjaer's own record of scoring in his first 3 or 4 games or something like that. It's some kind of record like that. So I think Solskjaer was joking in his press conference that he's going to take him off after a minute.
Yeah.
But no, I think James looks safe, and he looks like a great bet for points as well, especially if he's playing in his favoured position with Martial out. What about
Daniel James? I called him Matty James.
No, that's fine.
Many people's going to be interested in Leicester's injury-prone midfield.
People haven't been interested in Matty James for a few seasons back now. He was actually in my team briefly for a few weeks. But anyway, Leicester, how are they shaping up? Any particular news there before we move on?
Well, Matty James is out. I can tell you that, but he's not in the 25-man squad anyway. Yeah, he's their only real injury concern. Wes Morgan's back to fitness, and that's pretty much it. Yeah, full strength.
Right, yeah. Okay, well, let's move on to Chelsea. Chelsea face Wolves. A lot of interest in Tammy Abraham up front and Mason Mount in midfield in particular. But yeah, what's Lampard been saying? A mixed picture, I understand, from some of their assets.
Yeah, mostly good news, I would say. So Pedro's fine, Kovacic too, Rudiger, who could make a big difference, I think, at the back. He's was the first choice centre half last season, and he is fit to play according to Lampard. So that's 3 bits of good news. Kante is still not quite ready. They're hoping to get him back possibly in the next week, if possible. And we've seen that Loftus-Cheek, Hudson-Odoi and Reece James are back in training, but not quite ready to return to the first team. They're going to be playing for the under-23s tonight. So Lampard was saying they both need game time before they're in consideration for a first team return. So it might be a week or two before they're back in the reckoning. But good to see them back. And Reece James, I think, is one to watch because Aspilicueta hasn't really convinced at right back this season. So I'll be keeping an eye on him.
Yeah, the Chelsea. I haven't gone into the Chelsea defence yet for my own team, but I have wanted to. But I've been waiting to see for them to actually keep some clean sheets. Rudiger being back is a good step towards that. As you said, perhaps bringing in Reece James, I don't know. Maybe some other changes there could help matters as well. Obviously, having Kante there in midfield is going to help their chances.
Yeah.
So we're gonna. That's something to wait and see. Really, Hudson-Odoi's interesting. Competition on the wings. Loftus-Cheek returning soon. That's going to be competition. Possibly, would that be competition for Mason Mount or a bit further back in midfield?
Hard to say. Yeah, I think probably further back. It depends what system he plays. I suppose he could play number 10 with Mount on the left. Mm-hmm. But yeah, it's a difficult one, Loftus-Cheek, isn't he? He's kind of in between the two positions. Probably better in a midfield three. But yeah, actually, I've just remembered somebody else we've neglected to mention, partly because he wasn't mentioned at all in the press conference, was Emerson.
Oh, yeah.
So Emerson picked up a injury in International Week. He was on duty with Italy, limped off very early on. Mm-hmm. I think it was on Monday or Tuesday, with a hamstring problem. Now, he's come out and said it's fine, it's not that serious, it was more precautionary. But we've not had any update from Lampard today, so the flag remains on, and it could be that Alonso's deputising at left back this weekend, which would make them even less of a defensively secure side.
The return of Alonso as well, tragically overpriced for a non-nailed on, non-clean sheet keeping second choice left back, not left wing back, or left winger as he was pretty much most of the time in his heyday. Okay, well, never know. If you fancy Alonso, go for it, but not me. Let's have a look at Liverpool. Liverpool, someone talking captain assets now. We talk with Salah and Mane. They are at home to Newcastle. Great fixture for them. What's Klopp been saying?
Pretty quiet, really, given what else has gone on today. Alisson's still a way off. He's getting better all the time, and he's got this calf problem. Klopp mentioned the other side of the international break, which is the next one in October. So might be off for a little while. He says that they're still not sure. There's no exact time frame on it, but looks like Adrian's set there for quite a few weeks to go yet. Navigator's closer. He's going to be back in training after the Napoli game, but still not ready this weekend. Other than that, looks pretty good. So all the FPL big guns, I think, are fit as far as we know. Klopp hasn't said anything otherwise. And he was also talking about the fact that the likes of Salah and Mane have had this international break off. And it's obviously been a lot easier on them not having to go away with their countries, fly to Africa. So they are primed and ready to go by the looks of things.
Oh, very tempting for the captaincy as well. But as we will discuss in a moment, Man City assets could be slightly better for the captaincy. But before we turn to them, anything from Newcastle? Any developments there that might aid our decision, especially with the Liverpool assets?
I don't think there'll be much in the way of changing your mind as there is with Norwich, for example. But yeah, Newcastle are out without Sean Longstaff. He's the latest injury casualty. He's probably quite a pivotal player in that central midfield too, because they haven't really got another player like him. They like a Shelvey or Key or even his brother Matty Longstaff might come in, but they're, I would say, very much inferior options, certainly from a defensive perspective in the midfield too. So that might encourage you if you're a Liverpool owner. But other than that, same injuries. Richie is going to be back sooner than anticipated, but not for a couple of weeks. And the likes of St. Maximin and Carroll are still out. Okay,
let's get to Man City next. They are taking on Norwich. A visit to Norwich there. Before we talk about Man City, though, can you run through who, if anyone, is not who's fit for Norwich? Just run through who's injured for Norwich. Is there every defender they've ever had? Is that right?
Have you got any plans for this afternoon? Because you may have to cancel them.
Okay, let's just go.
So this is absolutely incredible, really. Honestly, I'll have to check back to my notes because there's been so many this afternoon. So we already knew that Tim Klose was out. He's out long term. So Zimmerman has now been ruled out until the new year. He was another first choice centre half. Ben Godfrey, who we thought would come through the international break unscathed, is a major doubt for tomorrow. So it was Godfrey and Zimmerman in their first choice partnership last season. So Closer, the third choice, is out. Grant Hanley, the fourth choice, is not fit enough to start. Fark said he could play 20 or 30 minutes, but he won't be fit to start. On top of that, Max Aarons, the first choice right back, is out until the next international break. They've also got Patrick Roberts is ineligible. He was a fringe player anyway, midfielder. Moritz Leitner, one of the two defensive midfielders, is out with a calf injury. Mario Vrancic, who's capable of playing in that double pivot as well, he's out injured with another calf injury. Tim Krul is a minor doubt for tomorrow. I think he probably will play. Is that everyone? Tommy Tribal, he's out.
You just listed the entire team.
Another defensive midfielder out for.
The upshot is they're down to fourth, fifth choice, sixth choice.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it's incredible because I think they've got pretty much no centre halves now to play for Man City. So what I think will happen, or what I'm predicting, will be Ibrahim Amadou, who's a defensive midfielder, will be dropping back to play centre half, and possibly, this is me speculating, Jamal Lewis as well, who's a full back by trade but played at centre half in pre-season for a bit while they had injuries. So yeah, a completely new backline because there'll be people like Sam Byron coming in. Philip Heisa as well, the replacement left back. So very under strength Norwich defence. They were already suspect at the back. So
it's not a good time to take on Man City then.
No. I mean, I think the captaincy debate is a big one this weekend. But I think if you were deliberating, this might have been the news you're waiting for from Norwich for your Man City assets. Okay. It's just whether or not some of them will be rested ahead of Shakhtar or so certainly from a fitness point of view, I'll just cover Man City now. Some big names back. So John Stones, Pep Guardiola said is good, has trained well. Gabriel Jesus is back, which may be a slight worry if you're an Aguero. Gundogan's recovered from a minor stomach illness that forced his withdrawal with Germany. So I think pretty much it's just Laporte, who is out for 5-6 months now, and Leroy Sané, who's another long-termer. There's obviously one other name to mention from the Man City press conference, and that is Benjamin Mendy, who has been back in training for several weeks now. Guardiola says he's reacting well, is training with the team over the international break, and he's hopeful that he'll be able to play the forthcoming games. I think the issue is that they've obviously been burnt before by bringing him back too soon. So Guardiola's made a point of saying this morning that they're going to have to be careful with him still. So that might give you a bit of hope if you're a Zinchenko, for example. So he might not be quite ready to play at Norwich, but it's an imminent return, I think.
Okay, Otamendi, any mention of him as well? Being away on international duty, I understand, and being touted as the likely like-for-like replacement for Laporte. Obviously, I say like-for-like as in not quite as good, but fill that role. Yeah, anything mentioned about him?
Nothing mentioned in the press conference. Okay. He as you say, he's not a left footer like Laporte is, but he's played as a left-sided centre half. There's an article I did on the site if people want to read that about who the likely replacement is for Laporte. Answer: it's probably Otamendi. But yeah, he came back early from international duty, not because of an injury, as we understand, but because of a pre-planned agreement with Argentina that he wouldn't play the second of those games, which was the early Wednesday morning game in the United States. So that is positive sounding if you are lumping on Otamendi after getting rid of Laporte.
Yeah, I'm fully on Otamendi. I'm rolling back the years. I remember those times when he used to score for me every other week. Well, it seemed like every other week anyway. Speaking of fantastic defensive assets, I say defensive cheekily, it's Lundstram at Sheffield United. Lots of people have been he's been coming into lots of teams, but lots of people are actually thinking about playing him in the first 11. Nice fixture for Sheffield United this week. I just wanted to flag up really what he's been saying, Lundstram.
Yeah, we don't often view the player press conferences side of things in terms of teams, but I couldn't resist yesterday when I saw it pop up on my feed. So yeah, he's been talking about his role at Sheffield United and that he's describes himself as a box-to-box midfielder, or that's what Wilder's asking him to do, which is good because that's what you want from a 4.2 million FPL defender. You don't want him just to be a a defensive midfielder. You want him to be getting into
The
these dangers.
Pogba of the North, they shall call him.
Yes, well, yeah, as many have called him. And I think, we saw, for example, Declan Rice last season was a defender, but, was ostensibly a defensive midfielder, didn't venture much beyond the halfway line. Whereas Lundstram is getting into the box. He is making these late darts. We've seen he scored already, set up a couple of really good chances. So, he says he's still got defensive responsibilities, but he is a box-to-box midfielder, and he gets into the area when he can. So I am certainly playing him tomorrow at home to Southampton.
Yeah, no, that's a good point. I am as well. I'm wildcarding and I'm still playing Lundstram. That's the power of the Pogba of the North. So well done, John, for entering all of our hearts as FPL players there.
Well done, FPL, for mispricing him as a...
Yeah, well done, FPL. May your misclassifications continue.
Yeah.
Elsewhere, I'll just run through some other teams, I think. So I work out who's left. So we've done Liverpool, Newcastle, Brighton host Burnley. Burnley attracting a lot of interest as well. And I understand there's some problems for Brighton as well on the injury front this week.
Yeah, Leandro Trossard, who's the sort of in-form 6 million midfielder in FPL. He's out now, probably till after the next international break. So that's a 4-week absence. So I think he's their only main injury doubt.
Okay.
But it's just who's going to replace him. That's the question. Burnley, who they're playing this weekend.
Yeah.
Still doubts over Goodmanson, especially. Sounds like McNeil and Brady are going to be fine. McNeil's obviously the one who FPL managers will be concerned about. Barnes, people would have seen a flag appear on in FPL, but I wouldn't be unduly worried because Dyche said yesterday that he had a tight groin last week, a couple of days last week, so that will be the first week of the international break, but should be fine. So he's had an extra week of training since then. The fact that he's got a flag on FPL, they have to do that, because as soon as the word should enters the equation, that is enough of a doubt. Because yes, people will say, well, why have they flagged him when Dyche is saying he should be fine? Well, if he doesn't play, and Dyche has said those quotes about there being even a modicum of doubt, then FPL will get pelted. So, that's why the flag's on him. But I do expect him to feature, I think. Sounds pretty positive.
Yeah, I know you won't pull a poor score. And I think Burnley's fixtures are fantastic from now, really, depending on your love or otherwise of Brighton. But if an away game to Brighton is considered bad, it's from next week, really, where everyone's going to be
I think I might hang fire for now.
Going for Ashley Barnes. But perhaps we can wait a week there. We've already covered Sheffield United a bit with Lundstram there, taking on Southampton. Any news from the Southampton camp?
Redmond's still out. He's the main one. Apart from that, Gans was suspended, but Bertman's back, so he might just like-for-like replacement. Yeah. And Gineppo's still a doubt, but that's pretty much it.
Yeah, you have to flag them. At the moment, Southampton, not a great deal of interest in FPL about them, but when fixtures get a bit better, it's good to keep your eye on these things as well. Spurs take on Palace. Mm-hmm. Let's go for Palace first, not Spurs.
Yeah.
Because I've seen quite a few Wickhams, I've seen quite a few Kellys in people's team, but is it good or bad news for them?
Bad news for Kelly, but I did suspect that his time in the first team was coming to an end anyway because they've got bodies coming back centre half. So Kelly was definitely out for the Spurs match. He limped off in that win over Villa. There's been no diagnosis as what I've seen so far. It's obviously a muscle injury, but he'll be missing tomorrow. So we saw Mamadou Sakho come on as a substitute for him in Gameweek 4, and I would suspect he's in first in line to line up alongside Gary Cahill, and they've also got James Tompkins coming back imminently as well. So that might be the death knell for Kelly, I think, as a budget defender. But you wouldn't want to play him this week anyway. I would suspect away at Spurs.
But bad news from the cheap seats, really. Good news perhaps if people are considering moving them on anyway. I think this might be the final push there. Look for other cheap assets. They take on Spurs. Mm-hmm. What news from Spurs? Dele Alli in particular. I'm interested to see if he's nearing a return soon.
Well, he's back. Yeah, he was a substitute in the North London derby. Came on for Lamella. Pochettino didn't really mention him yesterday. He was previously, before Game Week 4, he talked about having to be careful with him. Same with Lo Celso, and we saw what's happened there with Lo Celso. He's got injured in international duty, and he's out now till end of October. Yeah. So he's the latest addition to the injury list. Ali, Spurs have got a lot of games coming up. He might feature. He's rested over the international break, so as are Lucas Moura and Eric Lamela. In terms of injuries, they've got a lot coming back. So I think Lo Celso and Juan Foyth are the only two definite absentees. But they've got Dyer, Ndombele, Sessegnon and Walker-Peters all back in training and all to be assessed today regarding their involvement on Saturday against Palace. Though Pochettino did say that he's not going to take any risks if none of them are quite fully fit.
Okay, so yeah, the dreaded news for those. I think like yourself, you've got Walker-Peters in your team, but I've seen Walker-Peters in quite a few FPL teams, and you definitely want to play him in this fixture. So might be worth playing and see what happens, and make sure you've got a good first sub.
Yeah, agreed.
Wolves against Chelsea. Obviously covered Chelsea as well. With Wolves, Doherty could be back. Is that right?
Yeah, because I saw over the international break that he'd undergone knee surgery, and when you see the word knee surgery or words knee surgery, you just assume medium term to long term injury. But he's back. He's back in contention.
Superhuman.
Yeah, I think it was just sort of minor procedure, obviously. If he's back in contention for this, I think I've seen. I know. Full disclosure, I haven't seen Santo's press conference yet because it hasn't arrived in our file drop system. But I've seen transcriptions of it, and I think it's Doherty's in contention if he needs to be. So I still think it might be Adama Traore playing at right wing back.
Okay.
But they do have Willy Bolly suspended, so that is a downside for their defence.
So potentially good news for those holding on to Chelsea assets, as we said, Tammy Abraham, Mason Mount among those. A lot of interest there. Moving down the list, keeping going, already covered Norwich, yes, and already covered Man City. Good news for them. Bournemouth against Everton. Any news from either of those camps?
Good news, Everton. No new injuries. So that's fine. Bournemouth, still a lot of long-term injuries. Lewis Cook is back in contention, but might come a bit too soon. I think Adam Smith might be a doubt with a hamstring strain. Apart from that, I think Chris Metwin picked up a knock over the international break, but none of the big hitters from an FPL perspective have been reported any knocks. So the likes of Fraser, Wilson and King, I think, are probably going to be all right.
Okay. Watford against Arsenal. You mentioned as well that we're not 100% sure on a lot of Arsenal assets there. But
I'll try
tell us what you've got for Watford and Arsenal.
Yeah, sure, yeah. For Watford, that Bastia might have gone, but the embargo stays. So that is embargoed until 5 o'clock this afternoon.
What a pointless embargo. The whole world is desperate for Watford news, and they decide to embargo it. What a pointless embargo. And I say that as a journalist of 20 years.
I don't know why they do it. I'm not entirely sure. It's obviously come from the club if it's not Brasil's thing. So yeah, we do know that Daly's out, and Cathcart is a doubt. We saw that in, I think this was the Watford Observer leak yesterday. He's got a muscle problem, possibly picked up with an international break. So he's been not only the first choice centre half this season, but he was also a first choice centre half under Flores when he was last in charge. So he's probably the main defender, I would suggest, which is possibly good news for Arsenal going into that game on Sunday. He's not guaranteed to be ruled out, but he's definitely a doubt. Arsenal, I will check up on that in a second. We'll go to another game for now, and I'll report back to you in a couple of minutes once I've looked up Emery's press conference. But yeah, what we've got left to cover. I think
it's just we're looking down at Villa and West Ham. That's it. It's the Monday night
Villa.
game.
Yeah. West Ham are they're fine. No new injury news. Antonio out long term with after hamstring surgery, and the permacrocked Winston Reid as well. Aston Villa just fringe players. So Jonathan Kodja, James Chester not quite ready to return, and Target's a major doubt. Trezeguet is suspended, so El Ghazi might be back. Arsenal, I'm just bringing up the injury news now.
Okay.
I do know that Lacazette was flagged in FPL, but I think that was more cramp. In fact, I'm pretty sure it was cramp. Let me see. Apologies. Obviously, it's been a very busy day today. We've had 14 press conferences, and this has been the last one to drop. So there we go. Xhaka and Torreira are ready. Hector Bellerin, Tierney are playing with the under-23s soon. Rob Holden as well. Looks like he's going to be playing 12 minutes. Pepe is fine. So Nicolas Pepe pulled out of the Ivory Coast squad. I think they reported initially that he's got an injury or he arrived with an injury. But he's fine. Emery said he's training well and ready for Sunday.
Okay.
So I think that's it. If I say anything more on Lacazette, I do think it's a lot of fuss about nothing that he's got a flag.
Okay.
I think the fact that Emery said in his post-match presser immediately after that Spurs game that it was a hamstring injury is what caused the flag to go on in the first place. But I think it's been widely reported since then by the likes of James Baines that it's just cramp related. So
and it's also of note with Lacazette. It's not just for his owners as well. It's those looking at Aubameyang or already own Aubameyang.
Yeah.
Now Aubameyang should be, if people looking at the fixtures, a key asset coming up. Have a look at Arsenal's next few games. They're fantastic. Aubameyang, a big draw there. But of course, you've spoken to me before about this. Aubameyang as a central striker, absolutely tickety-boo, lots of goals. Out on the wing, you're not quite sure what you're going to get. So it is key whether Lacazette is playing or not. I think we've covered everything. There's a hell of a lot to get through there. Thanks a lot for your time.
That's all right.
And I'm just going to say it now. Commiserations to Norwich. It's going to be an awful day for you. But for you, Neil, good luck with the game week.
And to you, Joe. Yeah. See you next week. Bye-bye.
Bye now.